Welcome to Beyond Adjustments, the podcast where we crack facts, not jokes. The other way around. Anyway, today we've got a legendary father-son duo in the house. First, we have Dr. Shawn, chiropractor, former deputy sheriff, and probably the only guy who can say, I've got your back, both literally and figuratively. And he's joining us again. He's been on the show before, and we're glad to have him back. And then joining him today is the one and only Trevor. You guys have heard about him. This guy's an unstoppable force who's proving that CP diagnosis is no match for chiropractic care. Together, they're here to share their journey of healing, resilience, and why Trevor might just be the toughest patient Dr. Shawn has ever adjusted. So buckle up, folks. It's about to get real. It's about to get fun. And if we're lucky, we might even get some father-son roasting along the way. Let's get into it. Cue the music. Dr. Shawn, guys, I am more than excited that you guys are here. Welcome. First of all, Dr. Shawn, welcome back to Beyond Adjustments.
Thanks for having us.
To have you back.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Trevor, thank you so much for coming on here also to share your story with us.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely, man. I'm really looking forward to get into this. So I'm just going to go ahead and try and set the stage here. So Trevor, again, really happy you're here, man. And welcome to the show. I know we've heard a lot about your story from your dad before on the time that he appeared on the show, but now we get to hear directly from you. How does it feel to be sharing the mic with him today?
I haven't really been on the mic for a while. So being back on the mic, sharing my story, making it broader out to more people is just inspiring, I guess, for me to show that chiropractic care helps out not just with a broken bone or an ache in your back. It helps out with a disability like cerebral palsy.
Yeah. I love it, man. So you said you're back on the mic. That implies that you've been on the mic. Have you been interviewed before? Have you been on podcasts before?
I have once or twice yet.
Oh, okay. Where did you share your story?
I don't remember. It was somebody reached out to us, saw a newspaper article about Trevor, and it was, I believe, don't quote me, a law office that specializes in helping people with cerebral palsy.
Oh, wow.
And it was something about his amazing story, kind of like what you're doing today. I don't really remember the name of it.
Oh, no worries. Just
you could Google him. You could Google him. No, just kidding.
You don't think I have already?
Yeah.
Come on now. All right. So, okay. So Dr. Shawn, it's not every day you get to, do a podcast with your son. What are you hoping to hear Trevor share today? Like what, and he hasn't already told you.
Well, I don't know. It's been a while since we've done this. My goal of this is for him to share his story. And, kind of let people know that, MDs don't always know everything. As I said before, they told us this kid would never walk, never talk.
Yeah.
He doesn't shut up and he was always on the go. So, wouldn't have it any other way, so I don't know what he's going to pop off today. Who knows? I mean, he's now, when he did it before, he was a teenager, and now he's an adult. So it'll be quite interesting.
Would you mind sharing your age, Trevor?
I'm 22, turning 23 this year.
Wow. That makes me feel old, first of all, but okay. Wow, you've had quite a journey.
That's why I have none of this. I had that.
Me.
Now I have this.
I get that. All right. So let's start a little early here. Let's talk about the early days. Take us back to those days, Dr. Shawn, when you first learned about Trevor's diagnosis. I know we touched on this before, but what went through your mind at that time?
Well,
as first-time parents, the medical profession has a really good habit of making you feel like you don't know what you're doing. You're just a first-time parent. Don't worry about it. He's okay. And his mom just kept saying, "There's something not right. There's something not right."
Mm. It's always the
And
mom, man.
oh yeah, and honestly, he wouldn't be here had she not feel something was going wrong,
Yeah.
in the middle of the night. So back up. Trevor had in utero basically stroke. He had the umbilical cord wrapped around his head 3 times. When he came out, he had bruising across his face because the
Mm.
umbilical cord had gotten so tight because he kept spinning inside his mom, and she had an unusually long umbilical cord. And that's what caused him to have a brain bleed in his right fourth ventricle, leading to left hemiplasia. So the left side is a little bit weaker. When he was younger, I used to have him go, "Hey, Trevor, wave with your right hand, wave with your left hand." I don't know if it still does that, does it? A little bit. Now, yeah. So you kind of see a little bit. He's kind of outgrown it a lot, but
Awesome. Awesome. So Trevor, I know you heard your story from your dad's lips many a time. Do you eye roll, or does it still feel special hearing him share it?
It feels special hearing him say it just because I know that if I didn't have chiropractic care, I wouldn't be here. I would probably be
Yeah.
in a wheelchair and not being able to move, not being able to talk. So,
Right.
and like you said, I don't shut up. So,
Yeah. I love that. So you're the last time your dad and I spoke, Trevor, he mentioned the first ever kind of upper cervical adjustment that you had. What was the name of that doctor again? I forget.
it's Dr. Drew Hall. He's actually now practicing in, I believe, Sarasota, Florida.
Dr. Drew. Yeah.
Trying to talk him into coming on your show because this is one of, I'm going to say hundreds, maybe even thousands of stories that this man has through upper cervical
that.
chiropractic.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Make that happen, man. We need to tell the world, seriously. So what's your earliest memory of your adjustments, Trevor? Was it with Dr. Drew or your dad?
I remember honestly my dad first, but I feel like it was more so when I would go with him to like just the office or stuff like that, I would just be getting adjusted by any doctor, not just my dad, but also my dad too. So I feel like I'm kind of a chiropractic snob and like everybody's chiropractic care. But I don't know, when was the first time I remember?
And they don't know. You'd have to tell him. I mean, it started out when he was born. I had my back surgery in May, and Trevor was born really early in July. He wasn't due until sometime in August. And I used to take him in with me when I got my physical therapy, my chiropractic care. I went to a place called American Chiropractic in Thousand Oaks. They're no longer around. All those guys are retired. Eric Hutchings, Jim Sandberg, Diana Sandberg. Those are my doctors. And, Jim Sandberg and Diana Sandberg, they had a young man by the name of Jimbo, little guy. He's 2 weeks older than Trevor. So, we all kind of went through the pregnancy together. Well, the ladies did. The guys kind of supported them. And Trevor has his whole life been in a chiropractic office, me as a patient, and then when I became a chiropractor. He's grown up basically in a chiropractic office, either as a patient or the doctor's kid. So him having a memory of when the first time I can't remember him not having one.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember not being in a doctor's office.
And him being a chiropractic snob is no lie. He's been adjusted by Dr. Lloyd. He's been adjusted by Dr. Leander. He's been adjusted by...
I've been adjusted in front of Parker College.
Yeah, in front of all the students. I don't remember who did it, but...
I think it was that one doctor. I don't...
Dr. Mancini?
Yeah.
Dr. Fab Mancini adjusted him. And, so he is totally a chiropractic snob.
I love the fact that you can't remember like the first time, or because that means it's just kind of in your blood, in your family, you're constantly doing this. And I think I would say that you're a well-adjusted patient. No?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Take it back. I take it back. I take it back. I'm sorry. Dr. Shawn, quick question for you. When you adjusted Trevor for the first time, were you nervous? Like how was that for you?
You know, I wasn't. I've never been nervous adjusting anybody. You know, I learned from Dr. Franklin at Cleveland Chiropractic College, and he's a legend in the adjusting world. If you went to Cleveland, you can adjust. That was always the thing. I then transferred to Parker, but you know, I've never actually been nervous. I know people come some chiropractic, "Man, my palms are sweaty." And I didn't have that experience. So
Gotcha. So walk me through what happened after Trevor's first upper cervical adjustment. Cause I remember you telling me that story and how quickly you noticed the change.
yeah, well, so at Cleveland Chiropractic, while I was there, you know, we had a philosophy group that brought chiropractors in to speak. And this gentleman, and forgive me, I don't remember his name, he was a chiropractor in Bakersfield, came down and talked about chiropractic, upper cervical chiropractic, and he specifically talked about Dr. Drew Hall. Well, my group of study partners, we decided we're going to go visit this guy. Let's go check this out. He happened to be right down the street from the school in an office building. So off we went, you know, and we walked into his office, and literally we were in the elevator with a lady in a wheelchair. She rolled into the office and we literally watched her walk out. We're like, this isn't what they're teaching us at school. What is going on here?
Wow.
And we were maybe try 1, try 2. So we didn't even know what chiropractic was at this point. We,
Mm.
our philosophy was, just starting. We're in first year of philosophy and the history and Harvey Lillard. So, we just kept going back and back and back. And I'll never forget Dr. Humphrey Sanabria, my good buddy, he tweaked his back. I mean, he was in an S. And, and I'm like, dude, upper cervical is going to help that. And he went in there like, I think 3 days straight. And by the third day, he was straight, walking out, no pain. I was like,
Unbelievable.
so amazed. So then I went home and talked to Trevor's mom, and I just said, Miriam, what do we got to lose? This guy is, performing miracles. I don't know how to explain it. It's almost as if the green books are come alive in front of me. And so she's like, okay, well, we can try it. I said, I showed her kind of what the adjustment was, and that it's super light on the neck. And, the wrist of the baby is minimal. Let's give it a shot. So, at Cleveland and most chiropractic colleges are on a trimester system. So you go to school for, the trimester, then you get 2 weeks off, and then you go back and you go year round basically. And I was getting ready for our break. So I said, well, let's go see Dr. Hall, and then we'll go on our trip. We went to Big Bear, and we took him in there, and I got adjusted first so his mom can watch. And I got up, I didn't feel much. That was super light. I guess let him try the baby. And then he took me to the resting room. For those that don't know, Blair upper cervical, it's basically hole in one. And they, adjust you here, hole in one, and then have you rest for 15, 20 minutes. Back when Blair and upper cervical and started, they would have you go in a room and you'd stay in that room sleeping after your adjustment to let the adjustment settle. So I'm in the room. She puts Trevor on the table. Dr. Drew performs the adjustment, which I didn't even get to see. And she's holding Trevor, and she comes in the room where I'm laying down, goes, you got to beep. Trevor just himself through his diaper. I'm like, okay, and I'm thinking to myself, Drew, you better have something good to say because this woman's ready to kill you. Changed Trevor's diaper again through his diaper. She's like, what did he do to my baby? I'm like, and I'm thinking, oh God, Drew, please just don't tell her it's a good thing. So I get Drew and I tell him, hey man, you need to explain to her what you did. Because if you just say it's a good thing, I have to leave the room because I can't be a witness to your dad. And he just laughed, and I go, no, I'm not kidding, man. This mom's ready to kill you. She doesn't know what you did to her baby. She brought her baby and now he's pooping through his diaper.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, sorry, Trevor, I'm going to embarrass you. But with Trevor's cerebral palsy, he would tend to get constipated because the finishing part of your bowels is on the left side, which is the side he's paralyzed, partially paralyzed on. And so that happened. We clean him up. We get going in the car. Drew said something to her that appeased her. And still to this day, I don't know what he said to her. And, then we wwere driving to Big Bear. I look in the back and, Trevor used to hold his bottles. He'd make this hand was a fist. And he'd hold it this way, like, I mean, I had to get my good coffee, but that's how he would hold it. But I look in the mirror and he's holding it and he's kind of looking at it. And he's a little over 1 at this point. And he's holding it, really wasn't walking or talking. By the time we got to Big Bear, he had pulled himself up on ottoman. He pulled himself on the ottoman and then took a couple steps and he was off and running,
Wow.
So it was kind of crazy.
So up until that point, he hadn't walked. He hadn't been able to release his hand or anything like that, right?
Yeah, his hand was, it was mostly like this, but he couldn't release it, but very little, and now he was getting adjusted by the chiropractors I was seeing for, my injury. And we would notice that he would drool out the left side a lot. And when Eric Hutchings adjusted him, the drooling would stop. So in my try 1, try 2 chiropractic mind, I was thinking, well, if a regular chiropractor could get him to stop drooling, what could an upper cervical specialist do? And that was my thinking. And we went in and he got the adjustment and off he went.
Wow. That's amazing to me that the fact that it was the one adjustment, one upper cervical adjustment made such a drastic change in your body, Trevor. That to me, I mean, I know you don't remember it. I mean, you're about a year old. I know, but just kind of looking back, take yourself out of the story. If you heard something like this about someone else in that same situation, what do you feel when you hear that?
Happiness. I feel like someone cares for that person to make them better. Chiropractic care isn't like my dad said, there's different ways of chiropractic care, and I feel if anybody needs to hear, I would tell them to go get one of the chiropractic adjustments that I got, the Blair upper cervical adjustment, because that does help me. And
are you still getting the upper cervical, or just your kind of straight chiropractic?
Just straight chiropractic now. If I do need to, I'm sure I can find Dr. Drew to go back to get upper cervical.
Yeah. Your dad mentioned that the care you got helped you hit a lot of milestones, people thought that you wouldn't hit at all. So if you had to pick one milestone that meant the most to you, what would it be?
Milestone as in like just from now.
Walking.
I feel like walking because I feel like I'm still kind of have to kind of teach myself how to walk in a way because of my leg. It kind of gets tired and I drag myself and I kind of just drag my foot around sometimes when I get tired. So I guess walking is...
That's because you don't ride your bike anymore.
Hey,
clip your feet in and go for a ride.
But lacrosse is always fun too.
That too. But clipping your foot in to the pedal forces the cross crawl part of your brain to go, which helps your feet and everything go. So your twitches and everything that you're having right now don't happen. I don't know if you can see it or not. He's having spasms in his leg. So
no, I can't see them. No,
but
that's good advice. Yeah.
But the biggest thing is, and I'm going to jump in on him, is when he was very young, our neighbor across the street in Texas, we were living in Texas at the time, and I was finishing up at Parker University, and the little boy across the street got a BMX bike. And we had motorcycles and BMX bikes with training wheels. So they started riding, and then, he took off the training wheels and I used to race BMX as a kid, so I took Trevor to the local BMX track in Texas, and we started him riding. And then shortly thereafter that, we moved back home to Simi Valley, and where I grew up racing BMX was a place called Sycamore BMX here in Simi Valley. And I took Trevor there, and we started him riding, and he just was hellbent. I want to be clipped in. Now, so people that don't know, the pedals have these little things that they're called clipless, but you're actually clipping your feet in and hold your feet in. In BMX, road cycling, they have that at upper levels. Now, he wouldn't be able to get it till he was like 11. At this point, at 5, I wanted. I said, well, if you could do it at park and fall on the grass and get your feet out, you could do it. Well, we had to come up with a way where he only took his left or his right foot out, and then he would literally hit his foot to get his foot out of the clip. From there, that's when I started noticing the improvement of his foot straightening, his hand straightening because of the cross crawl. And I was a chiropractor. It was a young chiropractor. I didn't understand that. I understood the neurology, the basic neurology of it, but I never saw it in real life in practice. I read about it. And that's when I saw it. That's why I tease him about get back on your bike. Even if you don't want to train at the high level, just ride your bike. Clip your feet in and ride your bike.
Yeah. So I know you've done the BMX thing. Am I incorrect in saying that you were actually also considered for the Paralympics?
Yes, you are correct. I was actually considered for Paralympics.
Tell me about that.
I was, one day my dad said to me, like, Challenge Athletes Foundation reached out to him and wanted to help us out. And I was only in BMX at the time. I didn't do road cycling, didn't do mountain biking, didn't do anything other than BMX. One day he said, my dad said, well, we're going to go to this track. And I was all like, okay, well, let's see. Let's go see. We went to the velodrome track, and that kind of was the start of my little journey to the Paralympics. Once COVID hit, I kind of stopped doing my little journey just because of COVID reasons and stuff like that. It was just harder for me to race and train. But other than that, I feel like my dad helped me get into the sports that I was in and helped me succeed in the sports that I was in, helped me get to the point of being considered to be on the Paralympic team, to go to Tokyo, to go to London. And I was supposed to be also going to LA 2020.
Still time.
I know.
Let me fix Trevor's story a little bit. So what happened was, I have a very good friend of mine. His name is David Bailey. He's very, very well known in the motocross world. He was an announcer. He was multi-time national world champion in the 250 and 500 cc motorcycle class. And unfortunately, he had a tragic injury and became paralyzed. And he is part of the Challenge Athletes Foundation. And we were talking. He goes, man, you should reach out to this group and they will help you. I called, and there was a guy named Travis that was Trevor's point of contact at Challenge Athletes. And he goes, well, there's no BMX in the Olympics. I mean, we'll help him get a BMX bike. That's all I was looking for, is just help to fund his BMX racing. And Travis says, well, man, why don't you get him on a road bike or a velodrome bike? I'm like, okay. And he's like, there's a place in Encino right down the way from you. Go there. And we went there and we checked it out. And we met Trevor's coach, Stefan Meyer, and, off and going. I mean, he definitely is,
I'm fast.
Trevor was fast, and, he raced against able-bodied people, and, as, like I said before, Cody Jones's famous line is, I don't have a disability. I have a different ability.
That's always been actually, I feel like that's been both of our little mottos. Me and Cody both, we always say that to everybody.
And this is where you need to go back to the previous podcast and find out about Cody Jones. I just got you more views. But awesome. So, and Trevor didn't just, race bicycles. He played ice hockey He played lacrosse. He played
soccer,
basketball, everything. We tried to keep him well rounded.
theater.
Love that.
Yeah, it
So
helped.
watching, obviously watching him, Dr. Shawn, watching Trevor thrive in these sports, honestly must have been incredible for you as a dad, knowing where his story could have been and where it is, right? There's a huge contrast there, right? Were there any moments that, you were completely kind of blown away by his determination?
When we started racing BMX, so in the BMX world, you have local racing where you just go to your local track and you race your friends. And then you have the state series, and then you have the national series. So we went to Reno, which is a national, and we had been working with a gentleman by the name of Mike Redman. And he was the announcer for USA BMX. And we kind of kept it quiet that Trevor had cerebral palsy. Kids are mean.
Right.
They don't understand. They don't mean to be mean, but sometimes they can be mean. And we kind of kept it quiet. And Mike knew about it. And we were in Reno, and Trevor made the main event as a beginner, and he took off and was leading. And Mike Redman was on the mic, was in tears, like, come on,
Wow.
Mike, Trevor, go, Trevor. And he's cheering Trevor on. And no one could figure out, why is this guy getting choked up from a beginner winning the race? Trevor, unfortunately, his poor little legs ran out of horsepower, and the other guy got him right at the line. And, that was, everybody in the building of my close circle of friends knew and were just like, blown away. I mean, the trophy, we still have it. It's, by this, it was taller than him at the time. And, and that was just fun. I mean, we do sports. We don't do sports for the trophies. We do sports for the memories, and that was our thing, our travel and stuff. So, but yeah, Mike Redman, rest in peace, Mike. He loved Trevor. And then of course, you in the BMX world, you become very close with these people when you travel around. There's Eric is the current announcer for USA BMX and gave Trevor his nickname Hollywood, because he always had to be in front of it. And then it became Mustachio because he got a little dirt on his lip. And so he would call him Mustachio. And, just hearing kids' name announced in, any kind of sporting event is exciting.
Yeah. Trevor, I can see that you got a little bit emotional there. You're right, man.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Redman, he was just a really good person, and it was kind of when that happened, I kind of remember that. And when my dad was saying about that race, it kind of felt like it happened like yesterday. I kind of just went all for it at that time and kind of didn't give up and just
I love that so much.
kind of just like looked back and was all like, wow, this is actually amazing to hear the crowd cheering, to hear everybody cheering and everything like that was just amazing.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, we kind of let the story out. Some people knew, they saw the story in Texas where there's something Enterprise in Rockwall. It's no longer around, newspaper. And they had did a story, and one of the parents found it and were like, hey, this is Trevor. And I'm like, yeah, And so it went from there to, that. And then as we went along, when he went to national championships for road and velodrome, road was cool. We were there in Knoxville, Tennessee. And, he raced on the freeway. It was super cool. And, did beautiful. Tennessee is beautiful. Knoxville, Tennessee is beautiful. And he got third place, a couple times. It wasn't until the following week we did the road nationals where they do time trial and like Tour de France type of racing. Then we went to velodrome where it's like NASCAR on bikes with no brakes. You got to be nuts. And it was when his name was on the jumbotron, and to know that his speed where he was top 10 in the world. And really, he didn't train much. He didn't train much at all. He hated the sweet suffering of road cycling, and my goal was just ride your bike. It fixes your foot,
Yeah, that's amazing. Do me a favor. I need one thing from you, and I think that a lot of people would benefit from it. But if you could share one piece of advice with kids who might be nervous about trying sports because of physical challenges, what would you say to them?
Don't give up. Just try. Doesn't hurt to always try a new sport. I just think if you're gonna try, give it your all. Don't just do it halfway. If you want to try a sport, do it all. And if someone with cerebral palsy can do this sport, just try.
Yeah,
It's just try. Don't give
just
up.
try. I love that. Just try. Just try. Push through. I love it. I think we could all benefit from that advice, Trevor. I think we all need to just try sometimes, whether we have a physical disability or not. So thank you for that. Those are some good words. Dr. Shawn, question for you. Did you ever have a moment where you thought, I could tell Trevor that you have drive, man, and that's, sorry, fixing the mic. That in and of itself is inspiring, right? Just the drive that you have. But sometimes the drive that we have gets in our way, in the sense that we might overdo it. We might get to the point where it's like, all right, maybe I should take a break. But I'm going to ask this to your dad, Trevor, because looking from the outside in is going to be a completely different perspective when it comes to seeing that drive and the places that it puts you. So, Dr. Shawn, did you ever have a moment where you thought maybe Trevor should sit this one out, or were you always like the biggest cheerleader? Let's go, let's go, let's go.
No, we never treated Trevor any different. We'd go to Big Bear and ride mountain bikes down the hill. And unfortunately, I'm that dad that takes the picture of him going, "Doo, doo, 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 doo," and I have all of it. Boom, 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 boom.
And it's
and
on
we
his
all,
Instagram.
it's on my Instagram. Yes. If you
Yeah.
dig deep enough down, there's Trevor going, over the bars and, and us laughing about it once we knew he was okay. But we never treated him any different. He wanted to play lacrosse, figure it out, bud. We had, his mom had talked him into volleyball, and he walked into the volleyball class. The teacher said, you got to have a 3.0. If you don't have a 3.0, you're going to be in my study hall. Next thing I know, I'm going to play lacrosse. So he went and played lacrosse for 3 years. And as you know, his brother is still currently playing lacrosse. And that was, because of Trevor. And Trevor went out there and, the coaches, I was very adamant, do not treat him any different. He drops the ball, yell at him.
Yeah.
He'll figure it out. And, like I told you in the last episode, we didn't really adapt much, but like on his BMX bike, we made one crank shorter than the other one. And we found a company that made adjustable cranks. And the local bike shop here, 805 Bikes, John, my good friend John, he just made Trevor's bikes. His son Keith and John made Trevor's bikes immaculate and Micah's bikes immaculate. And John found these adjustable cranks. And he's like, I think we can keep Trevor's pelvis level if we adjust it just a little bit. We're talking millimeters. I'm like, well, okay, let's try it. And we did. And for years he ran that. And then once he got onto the road bikes, we found that he didn't really need that. His hamstrings and everything would loosen up because he was riding. So but when he came to lacrosse, he had to figure it out. And the only thing we did to make it so is his coach put an extra piece of tape higher up on his stick so he could actually feel where he was on the stick, like his hand would get stuck. Because he had to do most of the work with his right hand. And if you know anything about lacrosse on the East Coast, it's a two-handed sport, and sometimes one hand. So, he would work hard with his buddies and practice, and he would practice extra with his coach, Christian, at the time. And, we just didn't treat him any different. If I hand him a drink, I handed it to his left hand. If,
You still do.
I still do it. Yeah. It's just a habit. So
I think lacrosse was the one sport that I actually had to stand up for myself with. And I did feel like lacrosse for a little bit, they were kind of like, putting me out to the side and stuff like that. And finally I had to sit down with my dad and my mom, and I was just all like, look, they're not like, I need help, like standing up for myself. And that's what they did. They helped me stand up for myself to be able to, for me not to be treated differently.
Yeah.
And for me to be able to be treated the same as everybody else on the team.
Yeah, I became one of the assistant coaches, and I went to the head coach, and I basically said, he's like, I'm afraid Trevor's going to get hurt. And I said, and? Well, are you not afraid any other kid on this team going to get hurt? I said, why wouldn't you put the toughest kid in and let him,
Yeah.
play?
Yeah.
And, I'll never forget, we were at a tournament in San Diego. He had, unfortunately, one of Trevor's rough crashes actually happened at Mike Redmond's track in Paris, California. It was his last race. He was going to retire from BMX. I'm going to focus on the Olympics. I behind the scenes promised all the people at USA Cycling that this is going to happen. And unfortunately, Trevor went over the handlebars and broke his back, get a compression fracture, broke his clavicle, broke his wrist. I have it on video. I was filming it. It's one of the one times people know me know if Dr. Shawn is running, don't even ask questions. Just call 911. I don't run to people. I walk to it when they're hurt. I might walk fast, but if I'm running, call 911. And, Trevor did break his back, and through the recovery and everything, he came back to play lacrosse. And we were in this tournament in San Diego, and this kid cross-checked him in the back, just leveled him. And I had to stand there because I was on the coaching staff. This kid Kenny's just this beast he's a beast of a man now. He's an EMT.
Really?
I see him coming, and I'm just like, no, don't do. Oh, shoot, you hit him. And I thought the team was going to come unhinged. And that was, a bonding moment. Painful for Trevor, but the kids rallied around him. And, and Trevor got up and finished the game. And
I don't think I finished that game.
You got back in the next game, because the game was over at that point because they were afraid of a fight. So, but, his teammates rallied around him. The point is, and, it was, that's the type of thing, the inspiration. And his lacrosse team knew that he was traveling to race race road bikes and cycling. And they were proud to say that, hey, this is my buddy who's, maybe going to be in the Olympics. So
at one point, I even had T-shirts that were going to be made for my lacrosse team to wear, that they were going to support me in wearing, for just getting the word out there. You've been lucky to have, Cody Jones, who's just a few years older than you. Hint, go back to the previous podcast I'm on. You can hear all about Cody Jones. So tell him how the impact that Cody had on you. Cody is a Paralympic athlete. He does javelin. He did go to Brazil, and then he also went to Tokyo, right? Or no?
I just missed Tokyo.
He has cerebral palsy, same exact side as me, the right side. Essentially, me and Cody are the exact same person, just in a different body. Cody has helped me inspire myself to get out there, because there was a time when I was thinking of just stopping everything, like not doing any more sports. And Cody, he was on his way to the Olympics, like his exit out to the Olympics. And I went there to help his mom, Candace.
Oh yeah, when he went out to Kowloon, he did a demonstration.
For everybody, and I went out there, and I was all like, Cody, like, good luck out there, like, you're gonna do amazing. And like, just seeing him like go and throw the javelin and like seeing him do that and practice just inspired me to keep on going, because he's running and I'm on a bike. But he's running, and he has cerebral palsy, and he's running, and he's doing amazing. And so if he can do that, I can do cycling, and I can do the same exact thing that he's doing, just on a bike.
Yeah. Cody cannot ride a bike. Trevor cannot throw a javelin.
I cannot throw a javelin.
Wow.
But if you see them walking down a hallway, from behind and watching them, their foot turns the same, their hand turns the same. Obviously everybody is a little different, but yeah, it's funny. It's like, it's not a disability, it's a different ability. I love that Cody. That's Cody's tagline.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. The fact that you have someone in your life, Trevor, that, a few years older than you, kind of, breaking through the weeds and inspiring you to do the things that, I think it's important to have, I wouldn't call them mentors, but, more people in our life that are kind of solid, people that are experiencing the same things that we're experiencing, and seeing them flourish inspires us and helps us grow as people. I mean, I could say that in my own life, right?
Yeah.
I have mentors or people that are older than me, for example, in business or in ministry, right? I watch them and I watch their perseverance, and I'm like, I want to do that. I want to get there. Right. So I get that. I get that, man. And I love that. All right. I want to talk a little bit about kind of the father son dynamic that you guys have. Let's talk a little bit about your dad, Trevor. All right. He's a chiropractor. We all know that, he cracks and does things. What's it like actually being adjusted by him? Do you have any like funny stories or?
Oh gosh.
Remember, I know where you sleep.
There is some funny stories. I have farted on him a couple times
Wait. Is that with or without the adjustment? Because
with an adjustment.
Without.
With an adjustment. And he also, I guess there is funny stories. I have caught him sleeping on his lovely table, just passed out on his table.
yeah,
But other than that, no, I don't really have any funny stories in lacrosse or in adjustment world. Sorry, not lacrosse, in adjustment world with him other than farting on him.
do you feel like his involvement in the fact that he is a chiropractor and he can adjust you, and that he understands your body and he understands the neurological aspects of it and all that? Do you feel like that played a part in your journey in life?
Yes, I definitely do, because at the end of the day, I tend to go to a lot of different chiropractors. Like right now, I see my dad, and then I also see a chiropractor in
Dr. Griffin.
yes, Dr. Griffin, and
Again, chiropractic snob, the who's who of chiropractic, Dr. Griffin, legend.
I have been seeing her, and I see my dad too, but I just feel like I feel like my dad just knows my body more than any other chiropractor that
Of
there is.
course. Sure.
My dad just can work my muscles in a way that it'll help my back and help my gait
Mm,
and stuff like that. As in other chiropractors, yeah, they know what they're doing. They know that an adjustment can help your back and can help stuff, but they don't know, okay, well, you have to adjust this certain part of the vertebrae for him to be able to get a good gait again, or for
yeah.
him to have his foot straight again, or stuff like that.
Well, what the biggest thing you used to do, and my turn to embarrass him, is what am I going to talk about? You already know. Dad, I got to go poop.
Yeah, I do get really really badly constipated. I will say that my dad does help me.
Mm,
So we,
very.
We do joke around and say like how I can take an enema, but I don't like that, and I'd rather do
Who
chiropractic
does?
care.
Yeah. Who
yeah, when
does?
he was younger, he, I don't even know if you remember this. He would come up and say, Dad, I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta poo poo. I gotta poo poo. And he would lay on the table and I would adjust his thoracic spine. And then within 30 minutes, he was in there going to the bathroom. I don't know if that still happens as an adult. I don't really ask him, but
Yes, it does still happen.
That's awesome. I mean,
I
I'm
will.
saying that's awesome that you're pooping, but I'm saying it's awesome because you have a father that understands like your anatomy, like he understands how it works, and the fact that you have that in your life is such a blessing. Dr. Shawn, question for you. Do you ever take it
yes.
easy on him, or is it like always full business when you're doing his adjustments?
When I adjust him, oh, well, it's really, so a chiropractor's family never gets the same care as someone that walks through the door.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's your family. So you're cutting
Yeah.
corners. Oh, like he'll come in, Dad, just adjust me, and he won't do heat, stim, or,
Yeah.
as my boys are getting older, they're more
Yeah.
now in tune. Hey, I need the heat and stim. I need, the other therapies that Dad does, the stretching and all that stuff. But it used to be, hey, just my neck hurts. Can you fix my neck? And sure, boom, and most chiropractors will tell you the same thing. But over the years, I make them come in and go through the whole, start at therapy tables, do your therapy, and then I'll go ahead and adjust you.
Yes.
But like I said, as they when they were younger, and I'm sure most chiropractors will tell you the same thing. Oh, lay on the floor, crack, 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 or I've adjusted them on the floor. I've adjusted them in hotel rooms, on whatever I can find,
Bench.
and so, yeah. So
Love
does
that.
he get the same care? Sure, he gets the same attention and devotion and focus, but your chiropractic family doesn't quite always get the same care as a patient,
Mm. Well,
which is
I
bad.
think because it's constant, like, because you can always just adjust, like, right in the moment. It doesn't need to be, you probably adjust him more times throughout the week than you would an average patient.
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
He's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that.
100%.
So Trevor's journey, in my opinion, is truly remarkable. I was telling your story the other day, Trevor. I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was interviewing someone on my show, and your story came up. And as I was telling the story, like, I got goosebumps, man. I don't know how much you realize, but you inspire me. But so remarkable, really. And Dr. Shawn, you've been a part of it, a huge part of it. How has kind of being his dad, his chiropractor, really shaped the way you approach patient care overall, or has it?
Oh, a huge impact. Yeah. Well,
Mm.
let's share a story. Trevor used to work at a radiology place up in Santa Clarita, and we cannot say person's name, okay? Privacy, HIPAA. So
For sure.
Trevor, this little boy came in, and he was, he had severe cerebral palsy in a wheelchair and everything. And Trevor's like, man, you got to go see my dad. The little boy came in, and we adjusted him. And Trevor was the biggest advocate to this family.
The mom and the dad also came in crying. I just knew something was up. And, when I saw them, they had the little boy, he is just like severe cerebral palsy, and the family the whole family was just like devastated, and like I could just tell, like, they wanted a change. They wanted something for their child, and I just saw them, and like I just told them my story, and they took my story and they came to see my father. I don't know if they still see my dad, but they have come to see my dad, and now they get adjusted, and I hope that he's doing well, and I hope that my story has really helped their family out in many ways, and
Mhm.
many other families I hope I inspire in coming to do chiropractic care.
Got a little, excuse me, you got me choked up there a little because, sorry.
I mean, I have a friend, her name is Samara. I went to school with her in elementary school, and where did she come from? I believe she came from the UK, and she had severe cerebral palsy. She was in a walker, and I think she came to see you one
Times, yeah.
she was in my school, and I was best friends with her. And like they, to the point where they legitimately had me going with Samara everywhere, from like the bathroom to the the office, and to go home with her. And I finally told the mom my story, and
Mhm.
some more of my story, and she just like started crying, and she wanted to come to see my dad to get help and to be able to get adjusted, be able for her to walk without the walker, without a UFO on your foot.
Dofo.
Oh, Dofo, sorry. Because I did have those, and
So the biggest thing, Trevor and everybody is, expect miracles. Chiropractic gives miracles.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is it may not be the first adjustment. It may not be the second. It may be the 1,000th adjustment. You just don't know what the body's going to give you and what God's going to do for you. And the biggest thing is celebrate the little miracles, the little miracles, which is like, hey, their hand is moving better. They're talking better. They're sleeping through the night, things like that. And I used to tell the parents, when parents come in and they hear, what's that?
They're pooping.
They're pooping. They're full of poops. When they eat poops. But they, the thing is I always tell the parents to take a journal and write down how your kids are doing, because you will miss the miracle because they're looking for what happened to Trevor. And I can't promise that's always going to happen. I've had some miracles in my office. I've had some really cool things happen, but I've never seen a miracle like Trevor's. And I, Drew Hall, like I said, we got to get him on your show. I'm going to send this to him that Drew, you're going on this show, whether you like it or not. If you share you can make your own podcast, Drew. I mean, literally this guy, I'm talking to him. He can make his own podcast with the miracles that come out of his office. I mean, truly, honestly, I'm not just saying it, but I always try to tell people, don't look for the big miracle because you might miss the one that was important.
Yeah. So the reason why I got choked up earlier, Trevor, is because you were telling the story of how you were able to identify with a person's pain. I know that very personally. When you walk through something that's hard, something that you don't wish on your enemy, even like as hard as it is, it's for a reason. I live my life with a purpose for your pain. That's just kind of how I look at things. And I think I shared with you, Dr. Shawn, that we lost our daughter, 16 months old. God decided that it was time for her to go home. That is the most painful thing I've ever walked through, but still walking through. But when you see someone that is walking through that, you identify with them. Even if you just stand there with them, that's all they need. Just them knowing that you understand, them knowing that you feel what they feel or felt what they felt is enough. And it's just inspiring to me that you were able to share your story with that family. So Trevor, how does it feel knowing that you've inspired not just me, but probably dozens of other families who really heard your story?
It means a lot to me, because knowing that I can inspire somebody else into doing something good. It doesn't even just have to be, I feel like I don't even just have to be like inspiring someone for chiropractic care or for the fact that I have cerebral palsy. I just feel like it's just a good thing to help people out. It's a good thing to want to feel what that other person is feeling, to be able to identify. It's amazing that my story in my lifetime can go and help many people out and do many things
for years to come. And I noticed you checking your watch. I do know that you have to run, so I'm not going to keep you much longer. So just one last question for you, and then one last question for you, Dr. Shawn, as well. But Trevor, sum up your story in just one word or phrase.
It's not a disability, but it's my ability. So I feel like I don't have a disability. I don't have it. So
just the way you're built.
Yeah.
It's what you are. Yeah.
Just the way I am.
Dr. Shawn, if you could leave listeners with, one takeaway from this father-son story, journey, what would it be?
I always tell people, don't limit your children. I've shared a little bit about Trevor's aunt. She's got Wolf-Hirschhorn's disease. And, when I met her, she just laid in a crib. Now she walks and moves around because I didn't believe that she couldn't walk. I didn't believe that. And if you limit your children, you're taking their blessings away. They can do anything. They can do way more than any chiropractor, any medical doctor, physical therapist.
Yeah.
Then if you just don't limit them.
Yeah. And then finally, where can listeners follow along with your journey or connect with you if they want to learn more?
My social media is Trevor DeCloedt on everything: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I don't really know what social media there is now. But yeah, it's my name on everything. You can look me up on Google.
I'm so important. You can Google me.
My tags are all on there. And yeah, if you want to know anything more, you can always message me.
Awesome. I love that. Well, thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Dr. Shawn, for coming on the show and sharing the story with us.
Anytime. We enjoy sharing it.
Yeah. And whew, what a ride. We laughed, right? We learned.
Yes.
We witnessed some quality father-son banter. Dr. Shawn, thank you again
cried.
for.
I held it together.
Yeah, I cried. Yeah, I'm a baby when it comes to this stuff, man. It is what it is. But Dr. Shawn, thank you again for proving that chiropractic care is not just about cracking bones. It's about really cracking the code to a healthier, stronger life. And then Trevor, dude, you're such an inspiration, man. And whether it's BMX or athletics or proving your dad wrong in an argument, you're out here winning. And I love that. And to all the listeners, remember, if your body isn't aligned, your life might not be either. So go get checked. Stay healthy.
100%.
If your chiropractor ever says this won't hurt a bit, they're probably lying to you. But anyway, until next time, keep moving, keep thriving, and maybe just let your dad be right once in a while. I don't know. I'll see you guys in the next episode of Beyond Adjustments. I'll catch you next time.